This episode of the Golf Gambling Podcast from the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Get a deposit match up to $1,000 with my promo code SGPN. Sorry, stuttering there. We're also brought to you by Edge Boost. Earn up to $750 a month on your sports gambling transactions. Go to edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm, the leader in data-driven picks and props. Rhythm is giving away $250 in futures and throwing a March Madness party. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/party for details. And then finally, gear up for March Madness with 20% off in our merch store. Go to the SGPN merch store. Definitely grab a Golf Gambling Podcast shirt, hoodie, mug, whatever you think you should grab. It definitely helps the pod out a lot. But yes, we are back. Cognizant, Florida Swing, Honda, PGA National, whatever you want to call it. Dom joins me for another week. How we living, Dom?
Good. Glad to be back. Florida Swing, a little bit closer to you, the weather that you're used to, your home. So you going to any of these events, or are you just going to?
Yeah, it's definitely a home game. Going to be out there every single Florida Swing event from not probably just the practice rounds, like you know how I do.
Yeah.
But we'll be there for every single Florida Swing event. I might go to one of the Honda or Cognizant real rounds because I live 15 minutes away from here. So I might go on the weekend if I got someone in the mix. But nonetheless, I've been out there the last 2 days. Saw some really cool things. Gonna go through the betting board and see who we both like this week. So PGA National, it's a course we're very used to. What are your keys around PGA National? I know it's changed a little bit, but it's overwhelmingly the same golf course. Anything you're looking specifically around this golf course?
This is one, obviously, when you get a tougher course on the PGA Tour, you want to look at bogey avoidance. But I'm really honing in on like the accuracy. So like the driving accuracy, the greens and regulation, the proximity. So I mean, we've had these types of courses before where, like I said, I will look at the proximity and see. I mean, green and regulation only paints so much of a picture. I kind of want guys who are throwing it a little bit closer. And then I'm still looking at off the tee overall. I think there is something there as well. And then Bermuda around the green and putting. So it's kind of a lot, but I also kept
No,
it
I
pretty
mean,
simple.
this is a golf course that you need to do a lot. You need the full bag. So that
You do.
makes sense that you're going along that route. But I do think this will be one of the easier PGA Nationals we've seen in maybe PGA National history. We're getting some rain. Like we've got rain yesterday and today, keeping the golf course fairly soft, and that's not a hot take. It's public knowledge. Check the weather. It's been raining. So and it's been a wet this time of year in Florida the last 2 years, and we saw them make some birdies last year. They kept hole 10 a par 5. No one thinks they should. They lengthened it 20 yards, but still, it's a hole that the whole field can reach into. And then it's not a difficult up and down. If you get in the bunker, you get behind the green, you're in the front. It should be a birdie for the entire field. And then with the course being wet, fairways are going to be easier to hit. And then the rough is not anything crazy. I talked to a ton of caddies, and they all said the rough was fine. There's very few spots, I'll say, right of 6. 6 is going to be an extremely hard hole. And I noted this somewhere else. If you play hole 6 at even par this week, you can win a major. Because this hole is going to play so hard. It's usually into the wind, and there's water left, thick, rough right. Landing area is so short, and it's like 465 yards par 4. So outside of that hole 6, I do think it's going to be an easier Honda Classic. We're going to see a winning score, I think, 15 under or lower.
Yeah.
And so just amplify those birdie makers, amplify those Bermuda putters. But let's get into the odds board. There's a few names. There's actually more than a few names from 20 to 30 that start. There's no real favorite. There's in different books, different prices. So
yeah,
I'm not going to list them all off. Who's your guy at the top that you either want to give a nod to, think's going to play well, maybe a one and done pick? Who do you like up here?
I've kind of juggled Lowry and Henley. I feel like I'm always on Lowry, but like we've seen him do well here, and it just makes a lot of sense. I mean, this is kind of the type of course that he does well on. 20's not hateful. I mean, for one and done, I think Lowry and Henley are pretty safe, especially, I mean, in a weaker field where you're getting a guy who's the favorite in a field. We don't know how many more times these guys are going to be the favorite. So I like it from that strategy. Am I going to bet them at 20, 25? Probably not. What are you feeling at the top of the board?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think Shane Lowry's just gonna go like runner up T5, T3, and like win. I just don't think he's gonna have. I mean, yeah, the course history is good and it makes sense, but I just
Yeah,
don't see him just being an auto top 5 here.
right.
So I'm gonna lean with Russell Henley, a guy that's done it here before. He's obviously won here before, and he's I think playing a little bit better overall. Obviously, they both play good at Pebble, but Shane Lowry had a better finish at Pebble. Russell Henley plays really well at Sony, always plays really well at Sony, and they have a great comp with Waialae and PGA National. And this is a golf course that, I mean, on paper, it's a positional Bermuda golf course that's not 7,900 yards. It makes so much sense for Russell Henley. And I just think he's matured so much as a golfer. I think he's really came into his game and knows the courses that he can succeed on. And this is definitely one of them. So at the top, I would pick Russell Henley for sure.
And the top, like you said, every book's a little bit
Yeah, the
different,
top.
but
Who
it's
knows
like,
what the top means?
but it's like, I don't know, some of the guys in my model that are rating out high, it's like, oh wow, he is playing really good. Like Daniel Berger.
Oh,
You've been doing shows with me for quite a while. I'll bet Daniel Berger in any field at any number. This is outrageous, in
it
my
was
opinion.
one of our not first shows. I think it was around the spring or summer, like before the playoffs. One time you said, "I'm a huge burger guy," and my best friend watched the show, and he always says that. Like he always, whenever he comes on the screen, he goes, "I'm a huge burger guy," just because you said that. So I will forever remember you being a huge burger guy. But yeah, talk to me about 25-1 burger. It's is it a disgrace? Would you call it a disgrace? I wouldn't say disgrace, but what is it?
In this field, I wouldn't say it's a disgrace. I mean, the way he's been playing, I mean, he clearly rates out well here. He's had decent history here, but it's like, I don't know. He doesn't exactly win. Not that you have to be a proven winner, but like when I'm betting someone at 25-1, I want to be pretty confident. And I feel like you can go down the board and find another Daniel Berger. Same type of profile, at least. I mean, he doesn't do anything special to be. I mean, what's the best number on him? 28. I mean, yeah,
Yeah, and
sure, he rates out great in my model, but there also has to be a time where you look at a model or you look at some numbers and you're like, this is too much. And that's where I'm at.
yeah, I believe he opened around 30. And let me just quick note for the people listening: chasing numbers does not work in golf betting. I've tracked this the last 2 years. Well, another company I work for, a guy that say Daniel Berger opened at 30, which I believe he opened, and in closing around 25, 22, 28. A guy that drifts up in the odds last year out of the 49 tracked events has won twice, and one of them was Scotty Scheffler, who moved like a half of a point.
Right.
The drifters win. The movers up don't win. That's saying popular guys buying them at their peak don't win. The last time I can remember a golfer that was a bad number, technically, like a way off of their season-long number, winning, was Jake Knapp last year. Jake Knapp won
Yeah.
at 40-1, which is one of the lowest numbers he's ever been, and he was like 100 plus every single event besides that. So Jake Knapp was the only one, and it's going to happen once every year, 2 times every year. But if you're consistently betting these obvious guys that are at their peak, it's not going to work. It's if golf betting was that easy, we'd all be rich. These are 30-1 bets, 25-1 bets. They're not like auto. So
Right.
I don't think. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think Daniel Berger is a good bet this week. You're buying him at his absolute peak. Sure, he's going to play well, but you're asking a lot for him to win, I would say.
It's also golf. I mean, you got what, 140 and some
Yeah, something
change
like that.
golfers in the field. And I mean, to lay that at 25-1, 28-1, whatever it is, it's like there's just no reason for it. And we've seen guys in great form like miss a cut at an easy event. I'm not saying Berger's going to miss the cut, but it's
Right.
golf. It's in the cards
Yeah.
always. So
Yeah, all right. We'll go down the leaderboard or down the odds board a little bit more. So 30 range, 40 range, Danny McCarthy, Minwoo Lee, Davis Thompson, Kurt Kay, Keith Mitchell, and Ben Griffin. Some guys in there. I'm sure you catch your name a little bit. Who you like in there? Anyone?
the two that caught my eye, Cam Young, I think is pretty interesting, just based off of name, value, and number.
Yeah.
Same with Jordan Spieth.
Okay.
They're two different types of profiles. I mean, Cam Young's got a little bit of course history. Spieth is just like when you get prime Spieth, it seems like this is would be the spot that he would come back. And when you're looking at 45-1 on Jordan Spieth, it's hard to pass
I
up.
agree. I mean, Jordan Spieth is a very interesting case study this week because this is a golf course he never plays ever, but he's great on Bermuda. And you think Colonial, you got to hit your spots off the tee, be really positional, and then have a spike approach play from there. That's what you have to do at PGA National. So it does make sense for Jordan Spieth to play well here. He never plays here, and he's only playing because he has to. Like, he's not in X amount of events this year.
Right.
So he has to work his way in. I mean, I don't think anyone's gonna fault you for pulling the trigger on Jordan Spieth at this number in this field. But I just don't think he's ready to win yet. I don't think his golf swing and wrist and bodies is in order yet. But I do think it makes sense, and it's an interesting case study. I'm gonna definitely monitor Jordan Spieth all week to see how he ends up. In this range, I don't think it's a great number, but I'm interested in maybe other markets. Denny McCarthy. This is a golf course that he's played well here once or twice before, but on paper, it makes too much sense. Denny McCarthy, and he's coming in off nearly winning at Torrey Pines. The dude almost won at Memorial a few years ago. Difficult golf courses. He likes them. He plays well, and he's played well in the U.S. Open before. So, like, Denny McCarthy, when it gets tougher, and not that I said this is going to be an easier Honda Classic, but it's still a tough golf course. So, Denny, I think, could be in for a nice little top 20, top 10 selection.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of guys kind of jammed into these groups. Like another guy who has rated out well for me over the past few weeks, months, whatever, Kurt Kitayama. It's another thing where it's just like the number. It's like, have we ever seen this many people jammed between 30 and 50? Honestly.
No, because we're starting at 20. So I think that's the reason why it's all conjoined into there. But I agree with you. There's so many. People shit on them. Like, they're like, oh, these numbers suck this week. I think these are good numbers. Like, I think this is fun. I like when it starts how it is.
You can't put these bottom end like 50, 55-1 guys in the 80s, 100s, because then everyone's going to be like, there's 100%. A breaking point. And I feel like especially like recently, there are so many of these golfers who have been consistent, have showed up every week, and kind of been there. So it's like they're just throwing them into this range because where else are you going to put them?
Yeah, 100%. Another guy I liked in this 30 to 50 range, Ben Griffin. Ben Griffin is a guy that I don't care what I didn't even see him this week. Flow chart. You were on Bermuda. You play Ben Griffin on Bermuda. You don't ask any questions. His baseline elevates to 1,000,000 when you get to Bermuda. And that's what we have here. He played really well last week on a golf course that I wouldn't call a Ben Griffin golf course, a really long Mexico golf course. Yeah. And now we're here on a golf course that definitely suits his game far better. Confident man. So I'm down for some Ben Griffin. I think it's a fine number.
It's going to happen eventually, isn't it?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it really will. But I thought he would be super, super popular. I thought he'd be in the 30s in this field. And like I got a 55 on him somewhere else. So I'm down for Ben Griffin.
I see a 50 on the book that I primarily bet on that has a top 6 each way. That's not bad.
Yeah. I got 55. So I think
55 is good.
Yeah. And anyone else you like in this range?
I was going to say, speaking of 55, two guys that kind of catch my eye are Billy Horschel. We're in Florida.
We are in fact in Florida.
Where does he rank in the world? He's got to be, I'm not going to look it up, but Horschel's got to be up there.
Top 50? Actually a good
probably top 40 if I had to guess. 20.
Horschel. 20th in the world. I wouldn't have guessed that.
I knew he opened the year right around there. Bad start to the year, but my God. Top 20 golfer at 55.
The highest in this field is 17th, Russell Henley, 18th, Shane, 19th, Sepp, 20th, Billy, 22nd, Sungjae. Okay, so I think I like that. And he's got infinite dog. I like Billy.
Yeah, there's one at 55, and the other one, Luke Clanton. I feel like this is probably the best value we've got on Luke Clanton thus far. And it's not a stronger field by any means. He still has a lot at stake. Like who in this field has more to play for than Luke Clanton?
I mean, a lot of guys have to get into the swing 5 to get into the next week, because a lot of no one's in, there's a lot of guys that can get into Bay Hill and the signature events.
Yeah.
I worry that there's just too much pressure on Luke Clanton just to make the cut. I think he's a good maybe top 40, top 20 guy.
Yeah.
But I think his pressure, he needs to make the cut, and him being from South Florida, his family in around, I think it's going to be added pressure. But I'm not questioning his skill set. He's going to win a ton of times. Watching him drive the ball is just jaw on the floor. It's jaw on the floor. He'll be fine. I just don't think I could do it outside of a positional with Luke Clanton.
I guess my only thing with Clanton is we've seen him at 25 to 40.
Yeah.
In similar type fields.
Yeah.
Just not at this hard of a course. Not that it's going to be extremely difficult, but harder than what we saw in the fall swing or earlier on this year. So,
if
decent value
it
there.
He drove it at Sedgefield, which is a tight course. He put on a driving display at Sedgefield. He'll be in for a great week. But I mean, I'm not saying he's going to do that because that was generational driving performance, and I didn't really see that this week.
Yeah, that's fair. Going down the list a little bit.
Down the list.
37th ranked player in the world at 60. Hang on. 65 to 1.
Lucas
Brian
Glover?
Harmon.
Oh, Brian Harmon. We're aligned.
3 top 25s in 6 events played this year. Like I said, we're looking at accuracy. We're looking at ball striking. It's kind of what Harmon brings to the table. Like I said, top 40 in the world, and he's there for a reason, obviously. And it just seems like he's been around the block. He doesn't have the best course history here, but at the same time, when we talk about what PGA National is,
it's a Brian Harmon course.
It's the Brian Harmon course. Exactly.
Yeah, and he's coming into this week off of the best approach week since the summer at the BMW Championship. So that's a great sign from Brian Harmon. I do think he's going to be in for a good week. And this time 2 years ago, he'd have been 25 to 30 to 1 in this field.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's the same golfer right now, but I'm saying we're seeing some good signs, and this golf course on paper makes a ton of sense for Brian Harmon. So I'm with you there, Brian Harmon. Yeah. Anyone else in this 70 to 1 range that I want to touch on? Chris Kirk is at 70 to 1. That is just, if you bet Chris Kirk in Florida at 70 to 100 to 1 every time, you'd be rich. You just play him in Florida. He will hit fairways. He's so comfortable around here. He's not in the best of form, but this is where Chris Kirk makes his hay. So I'm down.
There's a 90 on my each way book. Wow. That's not bad.
Yeah, I think it's a good number on Kirk.
Yeah, it is.
How do you feel about Brian Campbell 80 to 1 after being infinite last week?
I was gonna stop you when you were talking about the 10th hole, when you said everyone can reach it in 2. I was gonna say, do you think Brian Campbell can reach it in 2?
What the 10th hole? I don't know. Hey, it'll be an easy up and down from 40 yards though, so it'll be fine.
I'm still not over that one. That was we won't talk about it long, but that was insane.
I mean, it's Wednesday, but we have to touch on it because I forgot. It's been time since we processed it. Obviously, last week, Dom had Aldrich Potgieter 100 to 1. Talk me through it. How were you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, all day Sunday, I feel like he let everybody else back in, but nobody wanted to climb back in except for Celinda. I mean, he was the only one who really showed up out of nowhere. But Potgieter's around the green game was horrible. To even make his way into a playoff, I thought was kind of a gift. But then when that ball went into the trees for 5 seconds and then popped out and Potgieter was still 100 yards past Campbell, I think at that point in time when they were walking to their balls, so you knew Campbell was in play, Campbell was plus 250. And just Potgieter couldn't get there in 2 with an iron at both times. So
and a lot of people were saying oh, he got so lucky. He hit off the tree. Yeah, sure, he got lucky. But he got lucky on one swing where Aldrich was kind of getting up and down, chipping in all week and
Yeah,
making every single putt. Like
every putt.
I give Brian Campbell credit. Like he actually stood firm the like all weekend. Like didn't really make
Yeah, he
any
did.
mistakes. He put on a generational long iron performance. Like the
Yeah,
dude hits the ball 250 and
yeah.
he's winning on a golf course that's like 8,000 yards. Like, are we kidding? That's serious guts. So, like, shout out Brian Campbell. I was rooting for you. I really was, and a lot of guys had the pot getter ticket, so it definitely sucks. But
Yeah.
we'll get into the triple digits. I see this comment. We'll go through some fades. Before we get to the fades, before we get to the triple digits, got to run through some quick ads. So hang with me for a moment. Edge Boost, SGPN has partnered up with Edge Boost to the premier Visa debit card for bettors. An Edge Boost card allows you to avoid the hassle of having your card denied at the book. You can earn up to $750 a month in cashback rewards for using your Edge Boost card. Your money is safe as the card is FDIC insured. Use the promo code SGPN so you can get cashback rewards and instant tier 2 status. EdgeBoost.bet, promo code SGPN. Finally, MyBookie.ag. We're brought to you by MyBookie. It's our favorite place to bet every sport, props, casino, anything you can imagine in a sports book. MyBookie also accepts customers from a ton of locations. They accept crypto, lightning fast payouts. MyBookie.ag, promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000. MyBookie.ag, promo code SGPN, and actually one more, Rhythm. Rhythm is throwing an epic March Madness party, and you're invited. All the Rhythm users are invited for a watch party for the first four of the NCAA basketball tournament, Wednesday, March 19th at the Circa in Vegas. Free drinks, plus you get to hang out with the guys from SGPN and the college experience. Rhythm is also giving away a $250 March Madness future for one lucky user. Sign up with your 7-day free trial by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. Come by and use Rhythm to help you fill out your bracket and make some bets while you're there, plus a chance at that $250 future. So go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/party for details. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/party. Okay, Triple D's. Let's go down. There's some names that I want to mention down in the Triple D's, and one of them is really popular. How do you feel about Nico Echeverria, a guy that a lot of guys are on this week? Adam Svensson and Michael Thorbjornsen. Those are some names that I thought you would have some liking to.
I can always be talked into Nico at 100-1. It seems like he's kind of been there over the past few months, at least, since we kind of turned the calendar around. I mean, he was insane in the fall, obviously. Started off pretty hot, too, with the second place at Sony. But, yeah, another guy, I mean, who, I don't know. I feel like it's a really good value at 100-1 in a field like this.
Yeah, like we talked about him all fall. Like, they never know how to price him right. And now
seems like they just stick him there now.
Yeah, they stick him there. And I think Nico could be in for a great week on a golf course that definitely makes sense for him. He's an absolute striper. He's popular for a reason. And I do think he will play well. I want to talk about Adam Svensson on 110-1. A golfer that a year or two ago was like one of the most chalky guys I can ever remember. It was like Svensson's winning at PGA National off of like a T4 last year, and then he might have missed the cut, which is fine. Everyone misses the cut at PGA National. But think to the golf courses that Svensson plays well. Those shorter Bermuda golf courses, you want at Sea Island, at RSM, you could do it here. And he's definitely hitting the ball well. He has some nice approach for him coming in. And I think he's just going a little bit under the radar. And Adam Svensson could easily be 45-1, 60-1 in this field. And we're getting 110. So I'm definitely down for some Svenny at the number at 110-1. Anyone else you like triple digits?
Svensson was actually my next one. He rates out the highest of everyone in the triple digits in my model when it comes to accuracy off the tee. I mean, like you said, he really was going for quite a while. Like he was in really good form. 2023 fall, I think it was, heading into the beginning of last year. But I mean, he hasn't really went anywhere. And when you can get someone like that at 100-1, he rates out 12th in my model. When it comes to he's green and approach around the green on Bermuda and the driving accuracy perspective. So, like I said, 2022.
That's what you want. That's what you want at PGA Nash.
It is. So, I'm in there.
Go ahead. One more long shot that I like is a guy who I feel like has definitely been forgotten. That's Matt McCarty, but he is not in the best of form. He's like 171 behind some guys that he shouldn't be behind. This man won was a winner on the Corn Ferry Tour, a top 10 merchant on the Corn Ferry Tour, and won on the PGA Tour. And he's been playing some not the best golf, but when he's playing well, he's minting fairways, and he's a great long iron player, mid iron player. That's exactly what you have to do at PGA National. I do think he could be in for a good week getting in the mix. So I don't think it's a bad bet throwing a little bit at 170 to 1, 200 to 1, whatever you can get at Matt McCarty.
One other one, Henrik Norlander doesn't rate out too bad for me. The course history isn't there, but the approach, I mean, the ball striking last week was on, driving accuracy. I mean, he backdoored a T13 last week. I feel like I didn't see a single shot of him.
Yeah, I know. I didn't see him on the broadcast one time. So let's run back through the 3 outrights. We'll do a positional and a matchup. First, I'm going to run through this. If you have any, also add. But some fades from the top 10. I like this. I'm totally out on Minwoo Lee. I hear a lot of buzz that this is a Minwoo Lee golf course, which I don't understand at all. I mean, he's played well here before. He's played well at PGA National before. Those are 2 positional golf courses out of like 10 trillion that he's played well that exist on the PGA Tour.
Yeah,
a Minwoo golf course, in my opinion, would be somewhere where you need elite driving, or you could drive it 10. You could drive it 370. You use a lot of forced layups here. You can't do that. And somewhere where the green regulation percentage is really low, because Minwoo Lee is a liability with the irons, with the approach game, and you're going to have to hit greens here. So I'm not saying he can't play well here, but Minwoo Lee is a massive fade as well. And we both talked down on Berger. So those are some fades, in my opinion, in the top 10. Anyone else?
Yeah, I would say I agree with you. I think this is a very bad spot for Minwoo. And then I wanted to talk myself into Sung Jae Im. Like I feel like when Sung Jae's on, this is a really good spot for him. But he's lost quite a bit of strokes on approach in the last 3, and that's not really the form I want to see paying this price.
Yeah, if you're not hitting your approach shots well here, you're boned, and Sung Jae has not been doing that of late, although it is a course that he should feel comfortable on. All right, let's run through. I'll start it off. A guy that I like, Ben Griffin, 40 to 1, 50 to 1, wherever you can get him. I think he could be in for a really nice week. If you want to hear the rationale again, just go back like 8 minutes into the pod, because I gave a really nice breakdown of Ben Griffin. Who's your pick?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Cam Young. Like I said, I'm just gonna take the name value. I'm gonna take. I mean, he's played well here in the past. It might not seem like a Cam Young spot, but is there even a Cam Young spot?
I mean, he played really well at Valspar too. I think that makes sense.
So I'm going Cam Young at 45 to 1.
Okay. A guy that I didn't mention, but I think could be in for a good week. Forgotten man, I feel like. Harry Hall. Harry Hall around 55 to 1. He makes he's played well on these positional club down golf courses. Well, this isn't really club down. He hits fairways. He's a great putter, and he could spike up with the approach. The approach play hasn't been great, but I just think Harry Hall, if he was in any sort of form, he would have been closer to 35. So I like Harry Hall at 55.
My second one I talked about a little bit earlier, but I'm in on Brian Harman this week at 65 to 1. I think it's really good value for a guy who's extremely accurate, a guy who can avoid bogeys. His proximity numbers are pretty good, and he's top 40 in the world. So I like Brian Harman at 65.
Okay, and then finally, my long shot will be a guy who played well last week. Finally, he's playing some good golf, and it's Ryo Hisatsune, a man that won at Le Golf National, which is a golf course in France where Scotty Scheffler won, and it asks you to avoid water and be really good on approach. That's exactly what PGA National asks you to do. So Rio, close to 200 to 1, it will definitely get a little bit of a sprinkle. Who's your final one?
My final one, I'm going to do it for both of us, but Adam Svensson is kind of what we're looking for this week. So the driving accuracy, the approach, we've seen him do well here in the past. So I'm going to go Adam Svensson at 110 to 1.
Okay. And then finally, I will do a matchup if you have one. My position will be, you're probably not going to guess that I'm going to go here. It will be Patton Kizzire top 20 plus 650. He won not too long ago in Napa Valley. Not really a common course at all, but he finally gaining strokes on approach, and I trust him with the driver. And when he gets going, he's a really, really good mid to long iron player, which you're going to need around this golf course. So Patton K, just hit fairways, dude. You should have an easy top 20 plus 650.
All right. I feel like I'm in the mood for a bomb top 40. Let's see.
A bomb T40. Those are
Yeah.
fun. Those are always fun.
Let's go top 40 plus 450. Brant Snedeker.
Oh, Sneds. He'll hit fairways.
4 straight cuts. He's gonna hit fairways.
Really? Good.
Gonna make
That's
putts.
impressive.
Plus
It's actually really
450.
impressive.
Yeah, why not?
I do that. All right, my matchup, I will go with Ben Griffin minus 120 against the defending champ, Austin Eckroat. Austin Eckroat, the dude just has not been hitting fairways in 2025. And if you're Austin Eckroat, you have to hit fairways. You're not long enough to get away with that. And Ben Griffin, I talked about multiple times, been playing great golf. I really like him to win this week, potentially. So I'll take that fade at minus 120 versus Austin Eckroat. Do you have a matchup?
I do not.
Okay. Don't feel pressured. Sorry, you don't need one. Just ride Ben Griffin minus 120.
Actually, I do.
Over
I'll go
okay.
Billy Horschel over Patrick Rogers minus 110.
Wait, what? That's a matchup?
Yeah.
I like that actually a lot.
Pull it up, and that was the second one. I was like, oh, that's usually I don't have a hot take on matchups or like a big lean, but I like
that a lot.
To be the favorite over
yeah. I like that a lot. I mean, yeah, because Patrick Rogers, this is an approach golf course. Patrick Rogers is not an approach player.
No.
I'm down. And then we're in Florida. Billy's home. So, yeah, you're right.
Right. Exactly.
All right. Well, great show. Thank you for joining me, Dom. And best of luck this week. Any questions, you know where to find us. And we'll see you next week for the API. Big one. Peace out.